Hello friends, Harshal here and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll tell you how can we install Docker on Ubuntu machine. Okay. So first of all, let me check on terminal whether Docker is installed in my system or not. So how can we check? Simply we need to check the version, and yes, Docker is already installed in my machine. Okay, fine. So to install Docker, there are some steps that we need to follow. Simply you have to visit this this URL, that is docs.docker.com, and here inside Docker, inside that page, you can see that Docker engine, and inside Docker engine, so there are so many distros and install on Ubuntu. Simply click here, and here you can see install Docker engine on Ubuntu. Simply follow the steps. Okay, first of all we need to check the prerequisite. So I'm basically using that Ubuntu Focal 20.04 LTS. So if you don't know how to check it out, so simply use this command, that is OS release. Okay, so everything details you will get here for your OS. So basically I'm using this 20.04 LTS Focal Fossa, and this is the same. Okay, so I have fulfilled the prerequisite for OS requirement. Then if you have your old version Docker, then you simply run this command, and that will be the old version will be uninstalled from your system. So let me run. Okay, and Docker version. Okay, so it is not removed, it is not uninstalled, Docker is still available. So I have one this is the command. Okay, that is, I just copy it. Okay, and here I need to paste. Oh, okay. Let me copy this, and here I have to paste CLI. Okay, so what we are doing here, purge means to remove Docker CE. Docker CE means community edition of Docker CE CLI mode, CLI, then container rt.io and Docker compose plugin. So everything will be deleted, uninstalled. Okay, so yes, it will be uninstalled from the system. Okay, everything is uninstalled from my system. If I have to check, then no Docker version will be displayed. Okay, there is no Docker version shown. So I'm going here. So I have uninstalled old version. So if you are actually using the old version, then this command will uninstall those old versions. But if you are using the newer version, then this command will not remove, right? This command will not remove the current version. So simply you have to just go with this command, that is apt-get purge Docker and everything. So I guess both are same, apt-get. Okay, here remove, instead of remove you can use purge. Okay, and everything will be the same. Yeah, instead of Docker compose plugin, that needs to be added in the command, and yeah, instead except everything will be the same. Now go to the installation method. So there are basically 3 installation methods. First, we have to set up the Docker repository, because the official Ubuntu repository do not have Docker packages. So that's why we have to set up the new repository, that is Docker repository, and where we will get Docker packages. Okay, so first of all we have to set up the Docker repository, and directly we can install Docker engine from the Docker repository, right? So this is the first step, this is the first method. Then the second method is to install Docker manually in your system by using dep package. Okay, simply download dep package from internet and you can manually install it. Then the third one is you have to go with some convenience script. You need to run those script to install Docker in your system, but basically this is used basically for in testing and development purpose or the environment. So I'll go with this. I'll set up the Docker's repository and install Docker engine from the same repository. Okay, so currently I have let me check if I have the repository or not. So there is inside apt, here you can see, okay, that etc apt sources. Here you can check the repository. So let me check the repository here, etc apt sources dot list, look at, and here you can see that the Docker repository already it is set. Okay, already it is set in my system. But if you haven't downloaded or installed Docker in your system before, okay, and you are just started from the scratch, then okay, so I'll tell you that how can you do this. Okay, so the first one is to set up the repository. So I had already set up the repository. Okay, here is the repository. Okay, so that is download.docker.com. so this is the repository, right? So if I go here inside and let me open the link, here you will get all the packages, okay, according to the distributions, Bionic, Focal, okay, according to the version. So yeah, so this is the repository that already I have set. But if you have not set, then I tell you. So first of all, just go with the flow. First of all, run this command apt-get update. It will update all the packages. Then the second one is you need to install certificates curl, GNU PG and the library LSB release. Simply copy it. Okay, you simply have to copy and paste, that's it. Okay, now the next one is GPG key. Okay, so I already have GPG key because I already set up the repository, so that's why I have GPG key. To use the repository, you need GPG key, official GPG key of the Dockers. Okay, so that's why okay, just copy and paste it. Just copy and here I paste it. And the next one, this command. Here already GPG key is available here in etc apt key rings, and inside that here you can see that docker.gpg. okay, it is exist. And if you want to overwrite, let me, I already have it, then I wanted to overwrite and it is already set up. Then use the following command to set up the repository. So these are the commands that we have to run now. So copy this and here you have to paste, right? Okay, so just by doing this, this is the last third step, and you are successfully set up the repository. So to check the repository, you know very well that what to do. Simply cat etc apt, where is the etc apt sources list. Sources.list, and here in the list, here this is the Ubuntu repository URL. From that URL, all the Ubuntu related application, the packages which is available in the Ubuntu repository, that will be downloaded from this address. Okay, and the Docker and the packages which is available in the Docker, that will be downloaded from this URL, right? So yeah, and there are so many. Here is the URL for archive and a lot of URL you will get here, right? Okay, we don't go much in depth into this. Okay, now we have to install Docker image. So to install Docker image, simply run this command. So update the package first. Now the next, install. Okay, so this is sudo apt-get install. We are going to install Docker CE, Docker ECLI, container rd.io and Docker Compose plugin. Okay, and if you want to uninstall, then what you have to do, sudo apt-get then purge. Instead of install, you have to write purge. Okay, or you have to write remove, that will also possible. Okay, or purge and remove, right? First of all, sudo apt-get remove and all the command, all the packages, then sudo apt-get purge. Okay, first remove and then purge, so that is also correct. So let me copy it and go here. So it will started installing. It will not take that much time because it is just adding some services. Yeah. Now the next one is to list the version available in the repo. Okay, in which repo? In the Docker repo. So what versions available in the repo, right? So for that, I wanted to check the versions for Docker CE. Okay, community edition. There are two types of edition, community edition and the enterprise edition. So I wanted to install community edition, so it will display everything. So here, see, right? So there are so many versions. You can see a lot of version. Okay, so this is the first version, and this is the repository where this version is available. Okay, this is the second version, third. So what version you want, you can choose anything. You can choose any one of them. Okay, simply how can you do this? Simply just copy it and here paste. Okay, just copy and here, okay, paste. So here the version string. Okay, so what version string you wanted to choose, you can choose anything. Okay, so let me use this one. So 5.20.10.3 and whatever it is written here, Ubuntu Focal. Okay, simply copy it. This is the version. Okay, version string, this is the version string, and instead of version string, you have to, in place of version string, you have to write the version, actual version string, right? So yeah, instead of version string, I just paste here the version string. So it started installing in my Ubuntu machine. It will take some time to install Docker version, Docker engine. So till then I have to pause this video for some time. Okay guys, so it is actually installed. Then okay, so let me verify with the hello world by running hello world image. So let me run the image. So what happened if I okay, so here no need to write sudo. Okay, so here docker run, okay, it will run this image, okay, and this image will the first it will be downloaded from here, from Docker Hub, right? So it is the public repository where all the image is available. So if I run this one, that is hello world, then Docker will pull the image hello world from Docker Hub, and it will run the hello world image. So how it will run? It will create a running environment that we call it a container. Okay, inside that container this image started running, and yeah, so here you can see hello from Docker. This message shows that your installation appear to be working correctly. So this is for just to show that if your Docker is installed correctly or not. So yes, it is working and it is installed correctly. Okay, so before I'm telling you about the basic Docker commands, okay, before that, first of all, you need to understand that what is exactly Docker. So Docker basically it is a application, it is a tool which is used in a application development. Then it is it has its own isolated environment, and it is packaged with all needed configuration. Let us say I have created let us say there is a developer who has written a code for the application, that is source code, and that source code needs the configuration file as well. Okay, it needs the start script, it needs bootstrap, it needs dependencies, right? So many other dependencies it needed, right? So there are so many artifacts that has to be deployed on instance, or we can say server, right? So what a developer has written the code, okay, and he has with the set of instruction that he has given to the operation team. That operation team will what he will do, he will simply go through that instruction, that what the instruction is given by the developer. He will go through the instruction, and he started installing the application. Okay, and if there are some complex configuration is needed sometimes, right? And sometimes what happen, the file, some configuration file is not there available, some bootstrap file is not available there. Okay, there are so many things happen. Okay, sometimes he misjudge that he failed to understand sometimes that what exactly is instructed in the documentation. So sometimes what happen, so many errors we get because of that, and it will take a lot of time to install manually on the server. So to deal with this issue, Docker has come into the picture. Simply what they do, the developer team and the operation team, both the team working together, and they created an image, okay, a Docker image, and inside that image there is everything, okay, the source code, the configuration, the CLI, environment variables, environment files. Okay, so whatever the requirement is needed to run the application. So everything, all the files they have set up, they have added, and they created an image. Okay, and what we have to do, simply they work together and they created the image, and that image can be run in a container. Okay, that image, that Docker image, we can run on any machine, on Mac, on Windows, on Linux. So whatever the distro you have been working on, So everywhere, okay, Docker is this service. First of all, you have to install the Docker engine, and after that you can run the Docker image. That's it. Okay, it's very easy. You don't have to configure. You don't have to setting the configuration manually on the server or on your instance. So despite of instead of that, you simply run. There is only one command, that is docker run. Okay, and the image name and the version that you wanted to run, that will be run successfully, and there will be no error. There is a very minimum chances of getting error. So yeah, this is very useful, and it is actually working in a real life scenario. So yes, it is the best thing that happened. Okay, so now we will go to the basic commands that basically use in the Docker. So Docker, the first command is docker pull. Okay, so if you write docker pull, okay, so where it will pulled from, it will pulled from by default from Docker Hub, that is hub.docker.com. It will directly go to Docker Hub, and from here it will started pulling the image. So let us say I wanted to pull the image, that is Postgres. So here is the image, that is Postgres, right? It is the application image. If I write here Alpine, okay, it is the minimal Docker image based on Alpine Linux. Okay, only 5 MB in size. So you can pull any image. So let me go here. So I wanted to pull Alpine. Here is docker pull Alpine. Okay, so what it will do, it started downloading the layers of Alpine image. Okay, all the layers it started. So okay, it is saying that it's already exists, so download newer image for Alpine latest. Okay, fine. So Alpine image is installed, right? Now the next one is I wanted to pull another image which is tagged with 3.13. Simply now what we have to do, simply 3.13. It means that specifically this version I wanted to pull from Docker Hub. So let's do that. So now it is pulling from library Alpine. Okay, it is downloading. Now you can see that Alpine 3.13 is downloaded. And if you wanted to check that how many image is downloaded in my local machine, then docker and image. Okay, docker img. Okay, docker here manage image, docker image. Oh, why it is not showing anything? Docker ps. Okay, it's working. Then why it is not showing image? docker image and command. So okay, ls, right. So here docker image, and then I need to add some command, that is the build history and everything. So I need to add that ls to list the image. So that is where I was wrong. Now docker image, now ls. Okay, so you can see a lot of docker image has been is available in the system. Okay, but nobody has running. Okay, everything is just image is available, is downloaded in my local machine. That's it. Okay, so if I wanted to run any one of the image, let me run that Redis. Okay, so how can we run? Simply docker, then run, and simply write Redis. Okay, this is Redis, and there are two Redis. Okay, simply write Redis, and it started running Redis. Docker run Redis. It will take some time because we have not added detach mode. So control C. So let me check docker ps to list the container. Okay, so yeah, there is no container at all. Okay, so that image is not started running. Why? Because let me go here and ps, and I wanted to list all, I mean which is running images, which is not running images, so everything. Okay, so there is running container, not running container, so all the containers you can see here, right? So there are some containers that okay, so here is the Redis. Okay, and I wanted to run this one. Okay, so just copy it. Now docker start, and then paste the container ID, and yes, it started. Okay, this is the container ID, and if I docker ps, okay, so it started running. So if I do this, okay, now here you can see the container ID, then image name is Redis. This is the command about a minute ago. Okay, status is up, this is important. Okay, and the port is 6379. Okay, and this is the container name, this is the container name, and this is the container ID. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay, if I wanted to stop, okay, let me do that. Okay, this is the container ID, and if I wanted to stop, docker stop, simply copy this container ID and paste here, or you can go with the container name as well. So simply copy this container name and paste here. So docker stop here. Okay, and it started. Okay, it could be a container ID or the container name, and it started, it stopped. So now if you do that docker ps, then there is no container that is running. Okay, so in this way you can start and stop the container. If you wanted to run any package, so let us say docker ps -a. So these are the containers that you can start and stop anytime that you want. Okay, here are hello world, then redis. Okay, there are so many redis, so many containers has been already created, right? So there are so many containers, and with the container id, this is httpd, and these are some new containers. Okay, now there are okay, and now if you wanted to run, let me show you docker run. If you want to bind the host port with the container port, right? So there are two types of port, host port and the container port. So okay, I have a document slide here, so let me show you. So here a port is a way to identify a specific process to which an internet or other network message is to be forwarded when it arrives at a server. Okay, let us say there are so many containers running on your machine, and every container has a port number. Okay, let us say there are 2-3 ports and all the ports have the same number. In that case, what you have to do, you have to change the host port. If all the ports with similar number, then it will not work, right? Only one container started running, only one container will work, and the other container will not work. In that case, simply the host port should be changed so that anyone can access the container. So here a port number is a way to identify a specific process. Okay, specific process or the specific service to which an internet or other network message to be forwarded when it arrives at a server, right? So in the local machine or the server, it has some set of ports. Okay, and we can give the port number that we want to. Some ports are reserved for some services. Let us say SSH has port 22. Okay, HTTP has port 80. So these are some ports that is actually reserved for some services, but except that there are so many ports which we can use for our host machine. Now all network connected devices come equipped with standardized ports that have an assigned number. Port numbers identify a particular application or service on a system. So this is the port number. It used to identify a particular application or service on a system. So let us say in my system, in the local machine, in the server, so many processes or the so many applications is running in a different container. Okay, all the container has a port number. Okay, so all the port number has the same port number. Then in that case, what you will do, you simply assign a different port, different host port. Okay, and bind it with the container, right? So there are this is the port range, that is 0265535. Okay, so let me, okay, first of all, docker ps-a. Okay, there are so many containers, but these containers are not running right now, they are idle. So let me take one of the, okay, let me take this one. So I just copy it, docker run. Okay, now start. Okay, docker start and paste. So yeah, you can see that this one, okay, it has started, right? So if I do docker ps, so here you can see The host port, okay, here already the host port is 3001 and it is redirected to 6379 port number of the container, right? It is redirected to the container which has 6379 port number. So yeah, that is okay. Okay, so if you want to change that port number, you can do that. Okay, now how can you do that? So let me tell you. So here docker run name, sorry, this is -p, this is port number. Okay, let me I want to change it from 3001 to 3000 and then 6379. okay, and it has a name that is demo. Okay, that container ID is this. Okay, and the container name is demo, so we can identify with the container name, that is demo. Okay, so run and then demo. Unable to find image, let us locally. Okay, so there is Redis. Control C. So docker ps. Now there is 3001. Okay, name demo. Name let us say XYZ. Okay, so the new container will be created with the name of XYZ and the port, that is 3000, will be redirected. Host port, that is 3000, will be redirected to the container with the port number 6379, and it started running. And let me do this -d so that. Okay, and now this is created, the new container will be created. So if I go and check, so here docker then ps, so now you can see this is the name of the container, and this is the container ID, and the here is the host port, and this is the port of the container, right? And the status is up. So you can start and stop the those container, so whenever you want. So right now I just wanted to stop both the containers. Docker stop, let me stop one of the container. So here, okay, so it is stopped. And now if you check, then there is only one container, that is demo. Okay, so now I would like to tell you something about the container. Okay, now if you want to go inside the container, okay, see what happened. Every container is like a it is like a operating system, right? It requires processes. It is a process, right? And inside container you will see the configuration file, you will see the file system, right? You will see the file system, you will see the application, you will see a lot of, you will see the environment variable. So you will see all the stuffs that the operating system has. Okay, so basically you can say that it is the lightest version or the shortest version of the operating system. It is actually an operating system that you can say that. Okay, not exactly the operating system, but it actually a kind of operating system, a smallest version of the operating system. So let me tell you that how it works. So for this we have a command that is docker exec, then have it -it, and here in bin, and here is the bash, right? So okay, there is a container command, here is the option. Okay, we have to write the container docker ps. So this is the container id, so let me copy it, and here should be the container, so I paste here, and now you can see that we are in the data. Okay, if I do ls, there is the dump of rdb, okay, database, the smallest database. Okay, so now we are in a root directory, and if I do ls, so here you can see bin, data, etc, lib, so everything, right? So dev, home. Okay, it is a kind of operating system. Okay, or this is we can say CLI mode, right? Okay, so let me go here in data. So okay, let me check the env. If you write env, then the host name, and this is the host name, this is the download, this is the version, Redis version. Okay, that Redis actually using here. So this is the Redis version, this is xterm, and it will be downloaded from here. So everything you will get here, all the details, right? Yeah, so okay, so we are in the end of this video. So before I end this video, I would like to tell you a smallest difference between the virtual machine and the Docker. Okay, so basically virtual machine or the Docker, both are doing the same thing, okay, but in a different way. In a different way means, let us say virtual machine. In virtual machine, what we actually do, okay, in our let us say if you have a local machine, in that local machine you install the virtual box, okay, or you can install the VMware, whatever the virtualization application you have it, okay, you install. So let us say you install the Oracle VirtualBox. In that Oracle VirtualBox, you create a machine, you create a virtual machine. Let us say you create the Linux virtual machine, you create the Windows virtual machine, okay. Then the Linux virtual machine, when you create, you actually install the package of the Linux, okay, and that package actually has its own kernel. So whatever we do there inside virtual machine, it actually use their own kernel. It do not use the host kernel. Your local machine has kernel. Kernel is the intermediate between the operating system and the application, right? So your host kernel is different. If you are using the virtualization or the virtual machine, okay, and in the virtual machine, every virtual machine has its own kernel. They process their own, okay, they do not use the kernel of your host machine. But here in the Docker, what happened, the lightweight image, we download it, okay, and after downloading the image, it will we run the image, and that image, for running that image, there is a running environment will be created. That running environment will use the kernel of your host machine. So that is the basic difference between the virtual machine and the host machine, right, or the Docker, right? So yeah, that's it. That is what I wanted to tell you. So guys, this is the end of the video, and thank you so much for watching my video. Have a good day. Bye.